people have got swayed by success, and sometimes you're a flash in the pan, you kind of disappear even after that first success. Failures and successes are even more high profile. Than they were before. Like, you can't use Pathan as a yardstick for future films. That was SRK's journey after so many years.
There was this really senior, popular commercial director who signed me up and signed a contract with me and kept me holding for about a year and a half. And the film never took off.
Being seen below your building with the papped videos, or constantly putting on articles, or constantly doing the PR and the hobnobbing and the film parties that actually get you work.
Hi everyone, welcome to the Quint, and thank you so much for making the time.
Thank you.
In this trailer, I heard one line that kind of stuck with me that says, that means don't get lost with all that glitters in Bollywood.
Yeah.
ये आपके साथ कभी हुआ है when you've gotten lost with all that glitters in Bollywood?
Added benefit of coming from a family which is connected to the films.
Yeah.
Although मेरे family में my father and my mom were never part of the films, लेकिन मेरी grandmother जो थी, वो एक actress रही है.
Yeah.
So I think stories from her, from other people in my family, I think they have been through the entire rut and the race of the ups and the downs.
Yeah.
And this was one takeaway, and it's something they always gave me when I decided to become an actor. Was they just keep your head planted firmly on your shoulders, and don't believe the hype. People have got swayed by success, and sometimes you're a flash in the pan, you kind of disappear even after that first success.
Yeah.
So you got to understand that if you want to run the marathon, you got to have a very calm, composed, resilient nature to this job. You can't take things to heart, because right now, in the past 10 years, it's become even more testing with social media and trolling, and failures and successes are even more high profile than they were before.
Never lost my bearings. And if that is what you're asking me.
Yes.
No, I think I've kept myself very real. Got lost once very early, but it's in a very different context.
Yeah.
When I saw all of this glitz happening around me, very early in my career, I'd done my first show, and I was taken to a party where I was introduced. Saira ji comes to me and she says, Yusuf Saab aapse milna chahte hain. That was my first introduction to the glitz that I've seen up growing. So, I was feeling a little, not awestruck, I was just feeling this is not my space. But then Saira ji takes you to Dilip Saab. Dilip Saab talks to you and he says, bhai, hum tumhe ek mashwara dena chahte hain. And then he just goes mum after that, and I'm just waiting. Somebody else takes him away. Then Neetu ji takes me to Rishi ji and says, ki, ये लड़का बहुत क्यूट है, बहुत पसंद है मेरे को, जो भी कुछ है. काका है, गुडू काका है, जिसे कि इसका नाम भी आर के है, टीवी में बहुत जगह में लड़का बहुत पॉपुलर है. Kaka looks at me and says, what is the difference between you and me? You're a better actor than me. All of this is happening around you, and you want to call up your mom, you want to call up anybody who you know that, listen, I swear I'm not taking pictures, but I am with these people and whatever. That's the only time when I kind of got lost in the glitz. But then the moment you left it and you say, okay, wo hai, these are them, this is me.
Coming back to the show, it of course tells us about the industry, right? But what are the things from the show that you all find relatable? That's maybe something that you've experienced in your journeys as actors.
I have a very strong feeling that it's going to work in a big way, not with just the people from the inside, but also from the outside. Firstly, from the inside, because I think it's based on stuff that's happened to people who have been working in Bollywood for a long time, and it's an held back look at the ins and outs of the people here. A star will never let you in on what they're actually thinking when they're going through a lean phase. You constantly feel judged. I think that's been brought about very well. It's tapped on that whole vulnerabilities of the people workforce in Bollywood.
If you look back at your career of these 20 plus years, and if there was something you thought the industry could probably still change or make it more inclusive, is there something that comes to your mind when you think of it?
We're trying to grapple with what really works as far as content goes, and I'm talking purely from the theatrical point of view.
Yeah.
OTT is doing fabulous. But I think what's happening right now is people are looking for a formula for success. They're looking for, they're backtracking or reverse engineering it from the commerce aspect of it.
Yeah.
Okay, this is what the audience might like.
Yeah.
And then let's make a film where you put in those songs, you shoot it like that, and you have the heroism, and you have the simple story so that it's not too complicated for the audience. You do the safe bet, right? But that never works. And we have seen that. I think it's only when the filmmakers have had, these ragingly personal stories where they have kind of made it into a fictional piece and put it out there, where there's something new about it, where the audience sits up and says like, God, this is like outrageous, but it's new. We have not seen this before. So when you put out something there which is audacious, risky, breaks the status quo. That is the formula that works, and that's why we've not had much success. I mean, we've had a great last year, but you can't really say it's a great last year because you had all of 4 or 5 films that did well.
Absolutely.
It's never gone back to pre-COVID times. Till your small and medium budget theatrical doesn't work, you can't have a film that's a theek film hai. OTT pe dekh lenge. You have very strong word of mouth, like a 12th fail. Everyone goes to theaters. You need more of those. Why is that successful? It's an audacious film. We need more filmmakers to take that leap of faith. I don't see that at the present moment.
Absolutely.
Like, you can't use Pathaan as a yardstick for future films. That was SRK's journey after so many years. You can't promote every film like a Pathaan.
And of course, right in the beginning of the interview, you said you come from a family where there were connections to the industry. So you knew the industry already somewhat. You heard stories, right? Was it easier for you when you started off?
Of course it was. Getting my foot into the door was way easier than someone else. But it was still a struggle for me because it was a situation where I didn't have a grand launch. I had to still prove myself. My uncle told me in the first go, he said that, listen to me, if you don't have the acting chops and the audience doesn't endorse you, we throw you out, and this is how he speaks. You know Bhatt Sahab, how he speaks, right? We throw you out, we won't give you another film. So he kind of jolts you with that, and you feel that, okay, you got to take this seriously, and I thank him for that, for giving me that plain talk. It definitely is easier. It's way difficult for someone else on the outside. It's not impossible, but I'm guessing it's way difficult to get your foot in the door and get a meeting or an audition or a place in a movie.
Right.
But ultimately, it's like I keep saying, it's a democratic industry. It's eventually the audience who decides.
You guys, of course, come from the other side. If you had to look back at your journey as you sit here today, what are some of the things that you think of were kind of challenging for you to get a foot in the door, like you said?
There was nothing challenging.
Nice. Very refreshing.
There was absolutely nothing challenging. I mean,
okay.
You'll always be told many things in the industry, but then it depends on you whether you take it seriously or not. I don't have a PR machinery around me. I've never had one. I'm still here. I'm surviving, I'm saying, and I'm doing pretty well for myself. So
of course you are.
You need to be really active on social media. I'm not on social media. Not that. That is how it should be, but that's what works for me. Ups and downs that happens with everybody.
Yeah.
It's a part and parcel. I can't say that okay, this filmmaker had signed me and kept me for a year. And I know people immediately after my first film, Amir, there was this really senior, popular commercial director who signed me up and signed a contract with me and kept me holding for about a year and a half. And the film never took off. Till at a point where the director came and told me that, Rajeev, move on. The film is not happening. The producers and the funders, they've had some issues. And a month back, I was texting the director and saying, sir, it's my career. It's almost been about a year and a half. You've kept me on hold. I never took it personally. I said, it's just part and parcel of the industry. Fine. I mean, was it a challenge? No, it wasn't. I decided to stick on with that one because I was seeing my vested interest in that one. I wouldn't say it was a cakewalk also, but then everybody struggles, battles, fights, and then they reach. So there was nothing great about my journey.
Because I think some of my choices on television were not necessarily very conventional. In some rooms I was looked at as a TV actor, in some rooms I was looked at as a newcomer. So I don't really know what worked in my favor. Yeah. And when I was auditioning for a lot of films while I was doing television, and it didn't work. I wasn't cast on a bunch of them. Maybe they wanted a brand or they wanted somebody from a privileged background. But I think, yeah, it does hurt. Rejections are not easy because you do tend to take it personally. Insiders do get it easy, but I feel there is a lot of pressure, and they also do work hard. Something that I necessarily don't really like is when brand beats talent.
You're saying star power over talent. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it's the brand.
You just spoke about, I don't have a PR machinery and, I'm still here. But nowadays, the world that we live in, it's so important to get papped, seen. Everyone's so busy in building a perception around them, right? Yeah. Do you think that anywhere translates into work, one? And would you guys ever do it?
I don't think you can actually quantify that. No one's really done a study by being seen below your building with the pap videos or constantly putting on articles or constantly doing the PR and the hobnobbing and the film parties that actually get you work. Ultimately, I think talent trumps all. Yeah. I think eventually your work will get you more work. Today's pap culture, I think right now, this is the world we're living in. It's blown up in the past 2-3 years. If you're on Instagram, you
Yeah.
open it up and those are the videos. So if you're not part of the action,
Yeah.
I probably would not readily want to be a part of it. But I'm like, okay, maybe it's it's good to be seen once in a while. That thought does cross your mind.
I guess it's difficult to try and be someone you're not.
Yeah, beyond a
That
point, you
naive.
can't really play up to something you're not. You can do a little bit of it, and you can do it for some time, but then eventually, your personality has to speak. It's been an extension of you. By the end of it, I think that one thing is very clear: the mystique and the mystery of stardom is definitely eroding. It's not like it used to be 40 years ago.
100%. Yes.
Yeah.
I think we can have a long chat about this. It's a never-ending conversation. But thank you so much
you.
for talking to me.
Thank you.
so
Thank
much.
you so
Thank you.
much.